Hi, so today I wanted to talk about true reward, whatever that means, and how true intention is what I think brings you there. And it's different for everybody, right? It's like, what does reward mean to you? I feel like nowadays we have to do all of this shadow work and root work because we from a very young age are told what to want. You're supposed to want to get good grades, and you're supposed to want to go to school so that you can want to be a doctor and say it's to help people, but I mean you're gonna make good money in that profession. But it's just like, it's a little bit too simple. Not everybody is the same type of person, and I honestly believe that the best way to reach reward is by helping people, right? You should be giving more than you're taking in this society, right? That's just how the spiritual world works. That's the foundational meaning of religion. Of course, that religion has been bastardized by institutions, of course, but in essence, it is all just, give, help, right? Donate, making sure everybody around you is okay, type of thing. And so when it comes to true reward, comes with true intention. I feel like, a lot of the times true reward ends up being fulfillment, self-fulfillment, right? Purpose. And a lot of people who have a bunch of money in this capitalistic society, it's going to be like, oh yeah, reward, it's monetary. But we see a bunch of rich people who hate their lives. They hate their partners. They hate their job. They'll get in front of all these cameras and talk about how they legitimately hate what they have to do, which is, whatever they creatively do to make all their money, they're still complaining about it. Why? Because true reward is personal. True reward. I'm like having trouble saying that, but true reward is just a personal thing. And I think about it. I've been thinking about this situation a lot in terms of the way that my job at least approaches the people lowest on the totem pole, right? Which it includes me. Lowest paid people. We work the closest with the population that the whole institution serves, right? But when we talk about compensation, when we talk about burnout, the higher ups, they sit there and they're like, yeah, we're going to get you guys more avenue to move up in the company, move up within the institution. And I'm sitting here listening to this thinking, I don't want to move up. That's not true reward for me. I want to keep helping the people that I'm helping. I want to, stick with them in the same capacity, right? And I do think that I'd be a great leader if I were to move up, but I don't want to. I want to be compensated. I want to be paid more in my current position, right? I want to be able to more comfortably make connections, make better connections with the people that I'm serving, right? Because right now, with all the burnout, with being overworked, with being underpaid, I can only go so far when I'm trying to help these people. Do you get what I'm saying? That's not true reward. And how do I get out of this? What do I do? Go find another job? That's not true reward, right? It's a lose-lose situation because now the people that I'm serving, they don't have access to my information anymore. And now the person that they've been working with isn't there. Now they have to meet somebody new and catch them up. That's not true reward. Oh, sure, I get to put this on my resume I get to put this experience on my resume, and I'm sure it would, do me well, but it's like, why? A lot of the times, a lot of us are just doing things and working with certain populations to put it on our resume. And we're doing that so that we can get accepted into programs, so that we can get paid more. So what about those people, right, that you're leaving behind? You went and you made your connections because you wanted something to write on your cover letter, but those people are still people. They're still needing help, right? These populations are still there. They don't disappear after you leave because you got what you needed for your resume, right? It's just like, when we talk about true reward and true fulfillment, I think a lot of it has to do with what we've been told is that being the best in your class. How fulfilling is that to you, right? Where do you want to end up? When you're at the end of your life, what do you want to be able to say? Did you make a difference in the people's lives that you said? It's like, if you're a doctor, did you make a difference in people's lives? Did you save their lives? Did you teach them how to, go about life in a different way and change their outlook towards their health? Or, did you get through, here, I'm prescribing you this, go pick it up, take it, and, try to deal with your condition? Same thing in education. It's like, do we as educators and teachers and, advisors and professors, do we try to touch these people's lives in a way where it gets them to change their outlook towards certain things, towards whatever we're specializing in, towards, the rest of their education, especially when you're teaching adolescents? It's like, are you touching them in a way that's going to help them eventually, in a way that's going to stick with them? Or, are we burned out? Is this really what we wanted to do? Or is this something that we settled into? Is it something that, it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of doing this because it puts food on the table, right? I know that a lot of people, when they choose their majors in college, that is, the survival tactic that they use. It's like, what's going to put food on the table? I get that. We have to do that in our society. But you also, I implore everybody to at least have it in the back of their minds, what do you truly want, right? What would actually be fulfilling to you? Because once you graduate and you get to the place that allows you to create, right, that allows you to pay the bills and then do whatever you want after, are you going to be able to do what truly fulfills you after, when you get home from work, from the job that pays the bills? Sure, but it's not necessarily what you love. Are you going to end up hating it to where you're so just unhappy by the time you get off work? You don't have any time to do anything but scroll on your phone, doom scroll, and just waste until you go to bed. It's like, waste the rest of your evening away. It's hard. It's hard when you get into adulthood and you find that that's something that you're having to do because there's no more energy after you got into a job that, sure, it pays the bills and this is what you studied for, but at the end of the day, you can always get fired for that. That can fail too. I feel like a lot of the times people put all their eggs in one basket because it's safe and because we grew up around people who, they didn't take risk. It was safe and they're, wanting you to do something that's safe as well. But when you're in a certain situation where you can take a little bit of risk, I feel like you should maybe do it, in all honesty. Like, and by certain situations, I'm talking like no kids. You don't have any kids. that gives you a lot more room to take a certain amount of risk. Like me, it's like I wanted to go into healthcare when I was a sophomore in high school. It's like, you don't know what the fuck you want to do when you're a sophomore in high school. Most people don't, and I didn't. I did what my counselor in high school, who met with me once, said I should do. It's like, she doesn't know me. Why would she say that? But she saw my grades and was like, this would be really good for you. And I chose that because it sounded safe, right? And I majored in it for the majority of my time in undergrad. And I didn't end up finishing with that because I knew that that was going to be a waste for me to hate my life. I wasn't going to waste any time with that. So I changed my major. And of course, it's like, it would be a major that most people would think, yeah, that's a waste. But, you know, education is never really a waste. And this major, you know, the job that I have now, my degree got it for me. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not like, education just never really is a waste. I love my job. Yes, I am underpaid. Yeah, it is stressful at some points in the year, but I am able to buy what I want and pay off debt and, you know, pay all my bills comfortably. It's just like, yeah, you know, you can still be at that point, but still know that you're underpaid and still know that it's like, you know, life could be better because there's just a certain amount of people who we've pedestalized in our society that end up exploiting us. You know, that's a collective thing we need to deal with. But when it comes to the personal, you know, you have all these spiritualists on the apps, TikTok, Instagram, telling you, do root work, do shadow work. That's because they're trying to get you to really understand what you truly want. Do you truly want to be a doctor? Why do you want to do that? Do you want to truly help people and get them to change their outlook when it comes to healthcare? Do you want to get them out of the cycle of healthcare? That's going to be hard in this American society. That's why I got out of healthcare, because I couldn't watch people consistently being put on a wheel and then never being able to get off. And then, you know, us, like, I was going to be a pharmacist. It's like, that's hard because then you see people coming into you from the doctors being prescribed something and them not changing their lifestyle. So it's like they're put on certain medication, and if they change their lifestyle, they can wean themselves off of the medication, but they don't. So now they're dependent on medication. They're still eating like shit. They're still not working out. And then they end up legitimately dying. And you as a pharmacist are like, hey, you gonna come pick up your meds? Oh yeah, that was my uncle. He died. I don't want to like consistently deal with that. I changed my major out of that because that wasn't what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to stand on my feet all shift just watching that. That was horrible. The drug industry, pharmaceutical drug industry, no, thank God I got out of that, right? And if that interests you, of course, you should go into it, especially if you're willing to tell people, okay, this is what you need, but like, you're supposed to do this to wean off of it, right? Talk to your doctor, make a plan. They don't want to make a plan with you, find a new one. But again, that's a hard cycle because it's hard to even find a doctor. So to change doctors around, especially when you're finding that you're not liking this doctor, it's hard. It's a hard industry to work in right now. That's why I don't want to do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, now I'm in education, which I love, but that's another thing is it's hard, bringing in students to college and seeing their parents' mindsets, who, I'm going to be honest, a majority of parents, they have to settle into something safe. They have a family. You get pregnant, less risk for you to be able to take. You got to take care of somebody else. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like these kids, I'm doing pre-med. I'm doing bio for pre-med. I'm doing, I'm going into business. It's just like, okay, what do you truly want? And I know that's a hard question to ask people when they're 18 years old, right? It's just like a little bit, it's hard. So me, as a person who helps these kids get registered, I'm just like, let's get your gen ed done. Everybody has to do gen ed. And I implore you to look at it with an outlook such as, I'm exploring. This is my gen ed. Don't look at it as I need to get things over with so that I can move on into my major. You don't know if you're going to like your major. You can take the first couple of classes of your major and either really love them or really hate them. And both is okay, right? You don't have to have everything figured out right away. My population of students are actually way more than 18-year-olds, right? It's like my population specifically, unlike a lot of my other coworkers, it's non-traditional. So I get students that, a couple of students that are elderly, right? 80 years old. And then other students who are in their, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, just returning to school. They need to finish their degree, get something, get a bachelor's for a raise or whatever, promotion. And it's like a lot of them know what they're doing, and they've figured it out when they're in their 40s. And they know what they truly want to do, right? You don't have to figure things out, but it's like that outlook upon going to school, it does really need to change, because after, it's like you end up feeling lost in the middle of your degree because you thought you wanted something and then you didn't. And now you feel like you're too far into it. And now you feel like you can't change. It's just like we need to open our minds a little bit more, because at the end of the day, even if you get a degree in bio or in, business or, literally whatever, it doesn't guarantee you a job. You still have to interview, right? You still have to do the work, do the volunteer work, make yourself a good candidate for wherever you're going to apply to. You have to do the work. The degree doesn't get you anything. There are unemployed people in every single major, right? You have to make yourself a good candidate. And anybody can, right? Anybody can make themselves a good candidate. That's why I do tell students, like, you need to do what you want. Especially when my students have to declare a minor. Some majors, you need to declare minors. Some students come to me and they're like, what should I do? Like, what looks good? What doesn't look good is you barely passing your minor classes because you thought it looked good with your major, and it's like you don't really love it. So you're getting C's and above, and that counts. But you do need a good GPA. You do need to try to do the best you could do. You need to, push yourself to your fullest potential, right? Part of getting a degree, a lot of jobs after you graduate, they'll just say, we need a bachelor's. We need a bachelor's degree, because it proves that you can finish something. And so, mind you, sure, you finished it, but a lot of students are cheating their way through right now. And when that, reiterates the interview. If you go into your interview seemingly not knowing what the fuck you're talking about, they're not going to hire you. You have to apply what you actually learned from your classes into the way you live your life. A college degree, it's supposed to get you to be a well-rounded person. That's why you have general education. It's not so you can be like, ugh, I have to do fine arts. Why do I have to do fine arts? This is like high school all over again. Yeah, many states aren't very good in education. Many states are the last, right, in education. So when you go into college, you should be aiming to continuously be a well-rounded person and know how to research and critically analyze text and other people's works in all areas of study. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just like a lot of people don't like to hear this because they want a simple route to an easy life. That's just not how things work. Maybe it works for some people more than it works for others, but a lot of the times, those people still aren't fulfilled. They look like they have a really grand house and a nice car and a good family, but you just don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know if they're in debt. You don't know if they're cheating on each other, right? You don't know if their kids are struggling. It really is just about you and what you truly want to find fulfillment in. So that's why sometimes we just got to get off the phones and sit with ourselves and sit with a notebook and write things down. Or just sit with your own thoughts if you don't want to. I know I didn't like to write things down in a notebook when I was younger because I was living with my parents and they were reading my journals. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like from a young age. So yeah, I wasn't too big on writing things down, but now I keep many journals and I'm still trying to figure out why I want to do things. Even after I finished my undergrad degree and I was thinking about what I'm going to do for my master's, it's taken me, when did I, like 4 or 5 years to figure out what I would do for my master's, because I still had the mindset of what would look good. What's going to guarantee me a job? Nothing's going to guarantee me a job. I have to do things because I like it. Right? That makes me a better person so that people want to hire me. If I don't get hired, if they don't hire me, it's probably a blessing, right? I don't want to work at certain companies. Definitely not. Right? And I think that at the end of the day, the universe is going to reward you when you're working in your true intention, in your true purpose, right? And it sounds corny, but at the end of the day, if the universe isn't letting something work out for you, maybe that's, a sign. And that's what sometimes that we as advisors have to tell students a lot, especially my coworkers in biology advisement, those students who want to go to pre-med. Sometimes it gets to a point where they can't pass a requirement. They've taken it 3, 4 times. As an advisor, we just have to sit there and say, maybe this isn't the route for you. Have you thought about that? Maybe it's time to change and pivot. Something's not working out, right? And many people will be like, well, that's not your place. It kind of is our place as university professionals. You can't pass a class. We literally work with the faculty that lets y'all in to grad programs. They're not going to let you in. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we forcing things? Same thing goes with relationships. You're miserable in a relationship. It's not working out. Why are you trying to force something that the universe is telling you to leave? Sign after sign after sign, something's not working out. That's because you're not living in your true intention. You're trying to settle for something. You're going to suffer if you're settling. You are. And I know so many people will sit there and argue with you about that. Argue with me about that. No, life's good. And at the end of the day, people were taught to settle. People are taught to settle into certain lives that may not be meant for them, with men that they're not meant for. with men that mistreat people and them as their wife, right? With a wife that, you know, maybe isn't right for this guy, but he's scared to be alone, so he's gonna settle with her, and they're gonna bicker every single day of the rest of their lives. But it's just like everybody was afraid to be alone. It's just, you could have focused on yourself and found yourself and then been comfortable with being alone, and then maybe found somebody who actually connects with you in a certain way where it's like, yeah, now the relationship's easy because you know yourself and that person loves you for yourself. But too many people, they don't even know themselves, and they've settled with somebody who doesn't care to get to know them. But it's like, hey, we're gonna do this, you know, and we have an agreement, we're gonna have kids, and the kids sort of suffer. Because I feel like when you bring kids into settling, that leads to resentment. It's just not a fair situation all around. I feel like I've said this many, many times. I'll probably say it many more times because it really just isn't fair for children. And a lot of people think that children are entitlements. It's like they do not get that children are legitimate people. Like, I feel like everybody just forgot what it was like to be a kid. I remember how I felt as being a kid every single day. I think about it, right? I think about how people talked to me and how people approached conversations with me. And I remember not being able to wait. I couldn't wait to be an adult, because it was obviously gonna, you know, be better, and it is better because people treat kids like shit. It's like very, very interesting to me how people don't look at children and think they need to be treated the best. It's like if children and the people who take care of them the most were treated the best, I think society would be better rewarded by God or the universe or whatever. But we're just, society as a whole isn't living in its purpose. We're not. We're living in this capitalistic, many of us are capitalistic slaves, expected to bring more capitalistic slaves into the mix, right? Expected to spend money and make money while being underpaid. You know, keep spending the money though. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to help each other. But we're taught that that's weird, right? It's just like when you're thinking about how you want your life to go, where you want your life to go, you've got to really dig deep, spend some time with yourself, reset your energy. You got to do that alone. Sometimes that's hard because you have roommates or family or something. Not everybody can live alone. Definitely a privilege. But you really got to determine what you truly want. And then after that, it's a little bit hard because then you have to kind of get over people telling you that you're wrong. Once you know what you want for yourself, people are going to tell you that you're wrong. People are going to say, why do you want that? That degree is not going to make you any money. That degree wouldn't make them any money. You know, doing that hobby wouldn't make them happy. Makes you happy, right? Having kids wouldn't make them happy. It's like, that's a whole like children discussion too. You can't be anti-child. You know, it's just like, I don't think anybody's truly anti-child. I think you just don't like parents. And I will boldly say that. Like, some people might be like, don't tell me what I don't like. I don't think that you hate children. I think you don't like parents who are neglectful and are passive, right? Gentle parenting, it's not supposed to be passive parenting. It's supposed to be conscious parenting. Gentle parenting requires more work. You're supposed to be more patient. You're not supposed to, scream at your kids just because you can, just because they're kids, just because they're your kids. You have to sit there and talk through their emotions, your emotions, what's going on. You're supposed to help them navigate and give them the tools to better navigate this world. Hitting them, that doesn't do it. Yelling at them, that doesn't do it. Right? But yeah, you can't be anti-kid. Like, some people want kids. Some people truly do. I would love to have children, right? I am child free right now and I love it, but you know, the only way that I would have kids is if I had a team, is if I had a partner that, you know, loved me, right? And, you know, things were going well for years. I know you can't plan things out, but I feel like you do have a certain amount of control over your life. And I know people sit there and say, oh, well, you know, you just don't know and blah, blah, blah. I think giving a child another parent, the other parent that you know, make the child with, I think that when you do that with somebody and you know that that person doesn't even respect you, and so you choose to bring the child in with them, that's not fair to your kid. You're already failing your child, right? So it's like, what's your purpose? Why are you making choices? We all are going to make choices. Are these choices ethical? Ethical? Yeah. Are these choices ethical? Have you even determined what your ethics are? You know what I mean? I don't think very many people do before they make their choices. Many people don't truly sit down and figure out who they are before they start making choices that are going to change the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? So, yeah, when it comes to true intention, I think when you are living within your genuine self, you know, and moving forward with what you genuinely want to do, I think you're going to be rewarded for it, with happiness, with fulfillment, right? Some people think that true joy is going to come with, you know, being paid a lot of money and, you know, I don't know what else people like, maybe being famous, right? It's just like, why do you want that, right? Do you want to be famous or do you want to be liked? Do you want to be famous or do you want people to tell you that you are worth some sort of attention? It's just like, a lot of the times I think that a lot of people want things and then it's like, be careful what you wish for, because once you get it, you're still not fulfilled. So yeah, I think biggest positions that I would implore people to really hone in and think about this with is doctors and teachers. It's like, why do you truly want to be that? Do you want to guide students to be better people and to take education seriously and to, you know, treat each other with respect, right? That's hard because I wonder if a lot of parents are doing that themselves. It really does start at home, right? When you're going to be a doctor, do you want to, you know, help patients look at, you know, life differently and maybe change their lifestyles out of whatever, you know, is easy to fall into right now? Or are you just going to be a pill pusher type of thing? You know what I mean? Even when it comes to corporate, it's like, do you just enjoy your position? Do you want to just enjoy your position? Do you want to get to the next management level because you want to tell your friends you're a manager? You want to get paid a little bit more money? Or do you want to be a manager to make it easier for the people below you, right? To be a good leader, to get the department to run efficiently, because you're doing the work to help your employees, your subordinates, be able to do better more smoothly, right? Without too much stress. Because you'll notice if you get into the workforce and you got a micromanager on your hands, that's because that person is inept. they're not a very good worker. And they got into the management role probably because they kissed some ass. And now they have to compensate for that. Now they're micromanaging. It's just like you shouldn't have gotten into that management position. But, you know, many people are picked not because, you know, what did I used to be told? They were picked out of circumstance. They weren't picked out of, you know, them being the best for the job. You know, they were given it because of optics. It's not always the best to go about things, but it is a reality. And maybe it wouldn't happen so much if people truly determined, do I want this job? Why do I want this job? What's going on? How can I change my outlook? Sure, maybe I want this job because it pays well, but how can I make it more enjoyable for me and the people around me instead of making everybody else suffer? So, yeah, I feel like maybe changing one's purpose and making your purpose tie into wherever you are, because I'm sure you can, you know, tie your purpose wherever you go, whether you're a doctor, whether you change that and decide to go and teach, and whether you decide to, you know, get into corporate and get into management. I'm sure you can, you know, get your purpose, tweak your purpose to work in whatever position you get into. You know, and if not, if it's, you know, totally out of left field different, yeah, maybe you should take the steps to get to where you're supposed to be. So that way, you know, I feel like way too many people, it's too normalized for people to just fling their misery wherever they are. It doesn't make things better for anybody. So, yeah. Either way, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if you feel like you might have settled at some point in your life and changed it. I guess let me know if you feel like you're doing that now and don't know how to get out of it. I would hope that, you know, maybe this would get people to at least figure out next steps, or try to figure out next steps, because truly nobody can do anything for you, and nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come save you. So I know a lot of women in particular like love to sit there and say, oh, I don't want to work at all. I want a man to, you know, pay for my life, and you know, I'll just stay at home. Yeah. Why do you truly want that? That's another area where we can determine why would we want that. You don't want to find your purpose. You know what I mean? And you know, relying on, I will say, guys, relying on men to do literally anything for you, you know, that'd be great. I would love to, you know, find a man that would love to make me comfortable as well. Majority of the time, men who do that and are respectable, they want you to be a little bit goal-oriented as well. Men who want you to legitimately do nothing while they pay for everything, they're about to trap you. So let's just think about that. Let's always keep that in mind so that we save ourselves before we really feel stuck. Okay? Either way, I hope you guys have a great week. Let me know how y'all are doing, what you'd want me to talk about, and please go follow my backup TikTok account because I did get banned on TikTok. So yeah, make sure you go and follow me there and follow me everywhere else, and then like and subscribe here for me. Bye.